Hey, you guys, what is happening? I don't, I don't know. I mean, that must be just a reflection because there's like literally no other lights on in here. But, well, actually, no, my disco ball lights on. It could be that. Um, anyway, welcome. I am. I lit this candle for our blessed soul sister Tina Turner, and this ancient cedar wanted to burn just now. It's kind of interesting actually because I just closed the whole house up too, so I'll have to burn it and then like air it out. Um, but this is from a 1,000-year-old tree, and I'm gonna set this over here for a second. I don't know what's going on. I'm like all over the place. Anyway, I don't even know what I want to say really. It was kind of like my Aunt Kim. And I think that's why I felt like I had to say something because I'm like, it's so crazy that 2 weeks ago, yesterday, I was doing one of these about my aunt passing away and how, what a great influence she had on my life and all that. And then, I kept hearing, they always come in threes. And I was like, yeah, I know. And so I've been like coveting my husband and Bubba, like, I don't know, it's like all this weird stuff's been going on with me, like total Taurus attachment, energy on the Taurus moon. I know we're in Gemini now, but yeah, I'm feeling a bit ungrounded and sad because you know, it's it's like that song, you don't know what you got until it's gone. Oh, there's the ball. I knew it was somewhere behind me. Okay, good. Sorry. I feel like the ball wanted to like make an appearance. Baba, do you want to be in the video? Bubba is in rare form, and I apologize for her in advance. It's spring. She has spring fever, like it's nobody's business, and you can't really talk to her when she's like this. She's just like in a, she's just in her own world, and you just go, okay. But it's late, and um, I've just been contemplating all day today. Like, so let me tell you. So let me back up and tell you what happened. Let me tell you the story. So I'm cleaning the house. It's, in real time, it's Wednesday the 24th, and Alder went to go work. His birthday's on Sunday, but, Memorial Day weekend in the United States, it's not fun to do like anything really because there's crowds and people, and where we live, it's very touristy this time of year. So it's kind of like let the games begin, like the floodgates open. And it's like, here we are. I mean, it's like, here we are. Which we realize we don't really want to live in a touristy place. It's so interesting how many things that we've come to realize since we've been here. So anyway, oh hi, you coming over? So any hoops, I stole that from Elise Myers. Um, I was cleaning because we've got plans where we're going to go away, and we have plans of things we're going to do at home. And so I was like, you know what? I kind of started doing one thing and that led to another thing. And I was like, I'm just going to clean it. And I just like ended up doing like a deep clean, which was really nice. And while I was cleaning, um, I heard this really sweet voice. And you guys know I'm a medium. So I just, certain voices I know are like my higher self or whatever. And then there are voices that come in sometimes that I'm like, oh, that's new. You're new. Who are you? And she just had the most gentle, very, very divine feminine, like really beautiful feminine energy. And she said, you should do a Wiggle Wednesday today. And I was like, oh yeah. I'm like, I haven't done one in a while. And I recorded one some time back and I forgot about it. And I was like, oh, maybe I should post that. Then I go about my day. I'm not really thinking about anything. A little while later, I hear River Deep, Mountain High, and Tina and Ike Turner. And I just started thinking about the movie and like, even though I love Tina and like, worship the, gold highway she drives on, I literally like, I have no, would you say spirit? Hold on. That's weird. I didn't know I was like talking. I mean, they're always talking to me, kind of, but hold on. Oh, yeah. So, not thinking anything of it, right? I'm just like, okay. And I'm like, but it did occur to me that my phone's on shuffle every day. So, stuff plays all the time. I have over 100 stations and artists, every station is an artist mostly. I mean, I have some like soundtracks or whatever, but like mostly like artists, right? And I was like, wow. And sometimes I'll look at it because I'll be like, what genre like is this in, or is this from the soundtrack, or like, whatever. And it said Ike and Tina Turner, and I just like started thinking about that, and I was thinking about that scene where he beats her for the last time, and like she shows up at the hotel, and she's like broken and battered, and like she's like, I'm Tina Turner. I don't have my any money. And he's like, oh my God, should we call the police? He's like, do you want to go to the hospital? She's like, no, just can you get me a room? She didn't want any. She's like, please, no attention, and she was so famous. She was just like, please, please, please. And I just remember when my dad used to hit my mom, and like how she would like hide her bruises and everything. And I just have a completely different soft spot for battered people, especially battered women, because my mom was a battered woman. So um, just very interesting. So my mind's in like all these places. And I started to think, I literally can't remember the last time I heard this song on my phone, on my shuffle. And I was like, "Oh, that's perfect. That's the song I'll do. I'll do River Deep Mountain High. Like that's it. That's it. Like that's gonna be my Wiggle Wednesday." So I'm going about, I'm doing things, I'm doing chores and stuff, and then all of a sudden, I don't know what it was, but just like something in my gut told me, to look online, and the first thing I saw was like it was like everywhere, like rock legend dies at 83, and I'm like, what? I'm like, what just happened? Like, what just happened? Like, seriously, what just happened? And because the way that the voice came through, it was like in that moment, the second I saw she was dead, it was just like everything came together, and I was like, oh my God, it was her. It was her. And it was her, like, because that was like that is and will always forever be my favorite song of hers. And just like that old version, where like if it goes, check it out on my shorts, um where it's like the crackly, vinyl kind of sound in the background. It's just really magical, and she was just really magical. So it doesn't surprise me that she died at 83, 11. Like there's all these people, they die at 67, 76, 85, 58, 49, 94, all these like variations of 13, the divine feminine, the goddess. Just very powerful, powerful stuff. And then for her, I was like 83, of course, 11. Like she's an angel. And the things that she endured, I mean, not just to mention like what she endured, when she was with Ike, but like after Ike. I mean, she was Barry Manilow's backup singer. A lot of people don't know that. And she was always a gracious spirit, but she really, really was gracious after that. And, she became a Buddhist, and I mean, she's amazing. If you don't know anything about her, I'm actually really excited to watch her documentary, Tina. I don't know if it's out yet. I gotta check. But anyway, so I just was like, wow, that's really profound to me, you know? And it was like in that second, it was like lightning went through my body, and I literally can't explain it. It's like lightning went through my body, and I felt like 100 hands all over me. I feel them now. I just felt these chills, and I was like, are you a new spirit guide for me? And like I just felt it again, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then it was like so bizarre, because it was like after that, then it was like then I heard Prince. And when David Bowie died and then Prince died soon after that, it was just like I was like, "Well, you're killing me." You know what I mean? Like you're killing me. Like my idols here. Like these are the people who like made me who I am today, like. And then I realized, I started to talk to Tina, and man, she's so divine, and she's so powerful, that she was like that, man. Like if you remember my episode about my Aunt Kim, I said it felt all kind of crazy, like she didn't know where she was or what was going on, but yet her old, like her higher self was coming, her old self was coming to me, like old soul was coming to me. it was like, this wasn't like that with Tina. It was like, no, like, that's why she was Tina Turner. I mean, seriously, like, she was just like instant, like, almost as if it was like she died and she was like, oh, cool. Like, oh, back to being an angel again. All right. But then it was like, so Prince came, and then after that, it was Karen Carpenter. And then after that, it was Amy Winehouse. And I was like, what the fuck? All of them are dead. And they were all talking to me. And I started to get really emotional. It's like it all happened so fast. And then she's like, do your Wiggle Wednesday right now. And I was like, River Deep, Mountain High. Like, it's not even a fucking question. Like, that's the one that's going down. And you can see when I'm doing the shorts, like I could barely get through it because I just found out, and it was like everything happened really fast. And I knew why she was like, do it right now, because I knew the more I thought about it, the less I'd be able to do it. Um, but fuck, she's just so magical and so powerful. And she's even more powerful now. Like, I mean, I feel like this is her, like her light. I lit this candle for her and it'll go until it burns out. And, um, I just feel like she's even brighter than ever. It's like, I feel like all of these like really powerful healers that were here, it's like now they're all dying like one by one. And they're just like, it's like, holy fuck. It's like they just became 100 times more powerful. And it's just so cool. And I've been feeling that like, because I'm like, okay, so now I'm always going to remember that May 9th, my Aunt Kim died. May 24th, Tina died. And May 28th is my dad's death day. It's coming up on Sunday. It's 9 years that my dad's gone. It's also my husband's birthday. And when he told me that, like when we first met on our first date, we met on May 17th, and we were at a tea house, and you're getting to know people and you're asking questions and stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm like, so when's your birthday? I'm like, I never asked you that. And he's like, oh, it's coming up actually. And I was like in May or like in a few months? Or he's like, oh, no, no, no. He's like, it's coming up soon, like in May. And I'm like, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. Because at that time, my dad it was just about to hit the 1 year anniversary mark. So it was heavy. It was heavy. It was heavy. I was like, please don't say it. And when he said the 28th, I'm like, I'm like, why? And we were talking about, he was so cute the other day because for, 8 birthdays, but well, this will be the eighth birthday, he's had to share it with my dad's death day. The very first time, his first birthday with us together, and the anniversary of my dad's death day, he was so gracious and so loving, and he made it all about my dad. I kept making it about him, but he would like bring it back to my dad, and we went to the ocean and we did all these things, and like put things in the water, like it's like memorial kind of thing, and it was just really powerful. And so each year I've tried to take it back a little more and more, or like he goes to bed early and then like I'll celebrate with my dad, kind of thing. So 1311, when I look down, I was born on the 13th, and I just said 11 was actually I forgot to look up. I wanted to see what Tina's birthday is. I'm curious to know what she is. Um, anyway, it was just all of these things started to come through, and then my dad and music, and I was thinking about like the last time I saw my family when I was in Chicago at the last wedding I went to. Um, Tina Turner came on, but it was Proud Mary, and I just danced. I danced my fucking ass off. I had like the time of my life. Like honestly, I just was like, I had a feeling it was the last time I was ever going to see my family. I was hoping not, but I just had a feeling. So I was just like, I'm just going to have fun and be myself. And it was really, really great. And I just, I don't know. It's just like she's just always been a part of me. And I remember when I was really struggling. There's been many times when I've been struggling throughout my life, and it's somehow Tina will come into my life. And I've really been blessed actually, because I've had 3 significant Tinas in my life. And it's interesting because Tina Turner was 83. My friend Tina that passed, she would have been in her late 50s, early 60s. I don't think she ever told me her age. I know that sounds wild, but I mean, I know she was older than me, because I think one time I said something like, I go, how much older are you than me? And she's like, oh, I got at least a decade on you, girl. So I know she was somewhere around there. So yeah, I'm 51, so she had to have been 61. So she'd be 61 now. And then my other friend, Tina, who I would call Mel, she's in her 30s now. So kind of interesting that I had like these different generational my Tina's. Oh, and no, that's true. That's Tanya. Yeah, I was gonna say because when I worked with Tina, the one that passed, my friend, she and I worked at a restaurant, and there was this other awesome angel that worked there with us. Her name was Tanya, and I called Tina T, and one time I called Tanya T or something, and we were all together, and she's like, "You can't call her T, you call me T," and I go, "Well," I go, I'm like, "How about she's T and you're little T?" Because she was so much younger than us. She was like 21 at the time, and I think I was like in my mid 30s, and Tina was in her 40s. Anyway, I'm going off topic, but yeah, I'm just going through a lot of emotions and just how much these artists meant to me and how much music means to me, and that I do sing and I do fuck around with music and things like that, but it's like I don't put as much time and energy into it as I used to. I write all the time, but I don't have an instrument anymore, and I mean, I don't need one. I mean, that's an excuse, but there's just a lot of fear in me around music. It was either I wasn't good enough, I wasn't skinny enough, I wasn't pretty enough, or my lyrics hurt people, or I don't know, there was just so much stigma around it. And my dad was like a really, really, he was a famous musician, like where I grew up, um, and he had a bar and a restaurant, and people like knew him to play, and he was really talented. Everybody in my family are really talented. My sister's an amazing piano player. My brother can play guitar and sing. I don't know if my sister sings. She never really sang. I mean, she can, but I don't know. I've never really heard her. I'm a singer predominantly. My mom can sing really well, and my dad he was a good singer, but he was too hard on himself. I think if it was like today, he probably like would have made it and gone his own way. But we grew up in a time, my dad and my family and myself, where, music had to be a certain way. It was so like, it was either bubblegum, pop kind of like trying to sell some kind of image or whatever. Well, all is selling an image of some kind, branding and all this. And I'm like, I just wanted to tell stories. I'm like, I just wanted to be a storyteller. That's really all I ever wanted to do. And it's funny because I was just watching this tutorial on, the 5 things for writing songs or whatever. One of the things they said was don't rhyme. And I was like, I don't even mean to a lot of times. It just like flows out of me like that. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I think that's horrible advice because they're like, I mean, even if they are famous songwriters or whatever and they teach and all that too, I'm like, I think that's kind of fucked up to put that out there because that doesn't mean somebody's not a good songwriter. You can still be a storyteller and rhyme your fucking ass off. Like, I'm like, just because you can't do that, or maybe they can, but it's like, I don't know. I just felt like there was all these rules and I'm like, that's the fucking bullshit I'm talking about. It's like I got excited to watch it. And at first I was like, oh, that's good advice. I'm like writing it down in my brain, like, oh, that's good advice. Oh, that. And it was. But then they got to that. And then they were like talking about something else. And I was just like, you know what? The best thing they said was, be a storyteller. And that's true. But when they said don't rhyme, I just thought, I think that's kind of silly because some of the best songs I've ever known, some of the best classics of all time have rhyming in them. But we just get these rules or these stigmas or like do it this way or be that or whatever. And I've just had 51 years of people fucking telling me who I am and telling me who I'm not and limitations. And it's going to take a few more minutes for me to unwind and unwind this clock and unpack this box and start over. Even my novel, for those of who, I've been writing a book for what, 4 years now or something like that. And in some ways it's like, I'm sure if I got together with a publisher, they'd probably be like, oh my God, you're so close. Like, let's finish this. Like, let's like, let's do this. You need help. Like, you need an editor. Like, what do you need? Um, but I have days where I'm like, do I even want to ever do anything with that? I'm like, or do I want to start over? Do I want to use some of it, not all of it? And I remember when I started writing, I'd never written a book before. I'd written poems and short stories and stuff like that, but I'd never um, written a novel, or like what I want it to be is like multiple books because it's like stories. It's like it has so many branches. These stories have so many branches. These characters are so in depth and they've been growing and growing for years. And they're based on like every person I've ever met, you know what I mean, or have had in my life in some way or another. It's really been cool. And I just I remember one of my friends said to me, "How are your rewrites coming?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "You haven't had any rewrites yet? You just like been going straight through?" And I was like, "Oh no, oh rewrites, like where I've like gone back in and like redone stuff." And she's like, "Yeah." I go, "Oh yeah, yeah." And she's like, "Some that's why it takes some people years." She's like, "Because if you're writing a masterpiece, like especially something like that you're writing," she's like, "it's gonna take you a long time for you to like, some people write it all out in one go, and some people it takes many, many, many moons. And there's no time limit on anything." And I think, you know, I love Freddie, Mercury, and he's like, time waits for nobody. That's true. But at the same time, it's like, pun intended, at the same time, it's like we have to put something into action. We have to at least be doing something towards our dream. So I realized recently when I started singing that I don't sound the way I used to. And I found an old recording of me from like 25 years ago. And I was like, God, I sound so, I mean, because I was 28 years old, or 27 or something, like somewhere in there. So like almost 25 years ago, right? Yeah, I'm 51. I'm like, it's too late for math. But you know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, because still a maiden, you know? I was still in my maiden, almost mother. Well, at that point, I was pregnant and lost the baby, so I guess mother. But you know what I mean? I was just so much younger, and I just sounded different. And I think I'm not saying my belting days are over. I just think that I need to find out what sounds good to me and what feels good to me because I think I'm nervous to really put myself out there because I don't sound like everybody else. And I know they say that's a good thing, but when I hear myself, I don't feel like I sound good or I feel like I sound flat, and I'm just like, I don't know who I am in that world. And I know that this Jupiter and Taurus is like really, the bomb diggity. And uh and i and I feel like I'm meant to do so many things in this year, and I've already been giving myself so much pressure to like it just fucking started, and I'm already like, it's here. It literally ends a year from today, which I just realized, you know but I'm already like, there's just all these things I'm realizing about myself that I'm still so fucked up. I'm just so fucked up. And I have these days where I'm like, I should call my mom, or maybe I should try and reach out to my family. And I'm just like, and I'm just so lost, because I know I'm just gonna get more of what I've always got. And I mean, I don't know because I don't know them. We've all changed and evolved. I'm not saying that they can't change. I'm just saying I don't know if they really understand what I am. And I think it's hard for them to see me that way because they've had this vision of me. All of my friends and my family have had this vision of me. My friends and family, like from my like birth to, now. And I've moved almost 30 times and lived in 5 different states, and I've had different friends and boyfriends and lovers and teachers and, bosses and coworkers, and just I've had so many jobs. I've had so many jobs that I literally I don't even know anymore. I know it's definitely like at least 28 jobs. And I know I'm 51. So it's like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, but it's like, yeah, but I've worked for myself for 8 years. So yeah, I mean, it's like sometimes I'd work 2 or 3 jobs at once, and I called it my life school. And I didn't know at the time that I was like building who I am today. And I've been having this fear thing lately, and Tina told me today, she said, "You're just in that like middle age thing." She's like, "Except for now in 2023, middle aged isn't the way it was when you were growing up in the 70s, and like when I was middle aged." She's like, That's 33 years ago for her. She was like, it's so different. And she told me to be gentle with myself. And when I was acting out the song, it's like I was getting very emotional about her. But then when I was like editing it, I started to get emotional and I started crying because that's like my dream song to sing with a big orchestra like that. And I was very blessed to have a really cool experience many moons ago. Um, the the piano player from the original Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, the piano player, I can't think of his name right now. Anyway, somehow he came into my orbit. My friend knew I was a singer, and this was in my 20s when I lived in LA. And she said, hey, this guy, he's looking for somebody to do this show for the soldiers. She's like, would you look at that going brighter? She said, would you like to be a part of it? I feel like she's trying to tell me to fix it. Okay. Hi, Papa. You want to come on my lap? No? Oh, okay. Um, that was wild, by the way. That's wild. I don't even know what to say right now. It's kind of freaking me out because it's like, okay. And long story short, I ended up singing not as a Marilyn Monroe impersonator, but like my hair was like short and blonde at the time. And I did this whole Marilyn thing. Oh my gosh, it's like really, I'm like, is this supposed to stay together? I'm like, because I'm losing light. Okay. Um, and I got to sing with a 25-piece orchestra. And I was in this total Marilyn Monroe, like I did this whole vintage vibe. And I sang for like, I don't know, like 700 soldiers. It was really cool. It was like it was like this moment that it was like, I mean, when I first came on stage, it was the whistling and, whatever, like, hi, you want to come on my lap? It was like, it felt like I was in the USO and it was really cool. Um, and I sang It Had to Be You. I actually sang like 3 songs, but I sang It Had to Be You. It had to be you. And I did like a whole cute little thing and I made it like really sultry and with the whole big band and the whole thing. I mean, it's like you can't even imagine the rush that you feel as a singer when you have that kind of power of music behind you. I felt like I could conquer the fucking world. And after that, I was like, that is it. I am focusing on music and nothing else. And I did, but it's such a long story. It's like, I feel like I kept going to these certain places and then like I'd get kicked back again or I'd go and this would work out really good and then I'd get kicked back again. And I was working on an album. We recorded 3 songs. We never finished it. We started to shop my demo and then my husband and I, my first husband and I weren't doing well. And then the sucky thing is that I stood behind him the whole time and supported him in his music career. And then when I was like ready to like take off, he was like, I don't want to live here anymore. Let's go live in Chicago. And I was like, I'm from Chicago. And he was British. And I was like fighting for dual citizenship. At that point, I'd never been to London, never been to Europe, and we never could afford for both of us to go at the same time. So I would go back to Chicago for Christmas, and he'd go see his family, or we would just stay home, or his family would come visit and whatever. But yeah, it was just kind of gross. Like when it was my turn, which he promised me when it was my turn that he would like support me, and then when it was my turn, he was, which is why we weren't married anymore. And that's okay. He was young and selfish, and I don't know him anymore, so I don't want to, but that's, and I was trying to be a good wife and fought for our marriage. And even though every fucking bone in my body told me to stay in LA and keep the house and keep my life, and if I had done that, who knows where I'd be now, but it doesn't matter. This is where I am. And yeah, so I feel like I'm not done with that chapter, but I also feel like I can't really jump into my music until I really know where I am and who I am, like vocally, and what I want to do and like where my voice sits well and feels good. And, um, but I just felt this push from all of my icons that are now crossed over. I felt like they were all trying to say, like, don't, don't, um, don't give up, because they say if it's your dream, then that's part of your purpose. If you feel it so much in your blood, it's part of your purpose. However, as a medium and as a teacher, I also know that sometimes it's just we're bringing things over from another life that maybe we didn't complete and we didn't finish, or blah blah blah, or so I've always tried to be fair about it, with spirit, where I'm like, I'm cool with fucking singing in my house and singing in the shower. You know what I mean? Like, I am honestly, I'm like, if that was all it was meant to be. But I'm like, but then I get this pull, like when I hear things like, River Deep Mountain High, and I remember that rush of that, big band behind me, and I was like, I want to do that. Or, watching Aretha Franklin sing Nessun Dorma at the Grammys. Ugh, if you've never seen that, go immediately, pause this and immediately go and watch that. I'm serious. It's that good. Aretha Franklin singing Nessun Dorma at the Grammys. I mean, it was just like, with this like orchestra behind her, and you're just like, what? Michael Bolton also has a very amazing version of that he did at the Grammys, and so that's always been one of my favorites too. Like, I've always wanted to sing Nessun Dorma, and River Deep Mountain High, but I don't know how to do certain things with my voice, and so I've always shied away from certain challenges like that. But lately, I've been getting all these signs from spirit through me doing readings for other people and watching my own readings that, that I find on YouTube or whatever, about stepping out of your comfort zone. And it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to put ourselves out there. It's so hard to put ourselves out there. Look at that. Look at Tina. Did you see that straight line when we first started? It's hard to put ourselves out there, but we have to, because if we don't, it's like, we only get one shot, and we really don't know when the next day will come or whatever. And, my mom said that forever and ever and ever and ever. She would always say, the next day's not promised to us. You never know, blah, 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 blah. And then her and my stepdad were arguing about something, and he was in one room and she was in the other, and he didn't answer her. And she was like, are you not answering me? And he didn't answer, and she was like, blah, blah, and she got mad. And she went in there, and he was dead. Like that. And I was on the phone with that was the last time I ever talked to my mom. I was on the phone with her for 4 hours, and you can hear how much shock she was in. She was just like, I was just talking to him. I mean, he was just, it's like, she was just like, and I was like, she was always the one that used to say that. Like, the next moment's not promised to us. So, and death is just another part of life, like I remember when I was getting readings for the first time, and the death card would come up, and I was like, oh no. And they're like, no, the death card's good, because that means that there's something else. That means that it's time for something to die and something else to come out in its place. And I remember I was going through some really hard times where I wanted to kill myself, and one of my gurus that I worked with, she said, oh, good. I said, you're the first person in my entire life that when I said I wanted to kill myself, because I had said it many times and tried many times, that said good. And she said, it is good though. She goes, because that means that that's a part of you that needs to die, so that another part of you can rebirth, can grow, so you can rebirth a new part of you. So I kind of feel like, with each passing of these icons in my life, these muses, these legends, these mentors that I look up to, or up towards. I was gonna say up to, but up towards, yes. Like, look to for inspiration and guidance. It's like I feel like they're all like on the other side, like, you can do it, you can do it, and like they're all like cheering me on, and I know I'm gonna find it. I just haven't figured it out yet, but I will eventually. Anyway, I just wanted to say I love you, and if you love it, if it makes you really happy, do it, whatever it is. Whatever it is, if it makes you happy, if it makes you want to get up in the morning, or if it just brings joy to your life, a smile to your face, a skipping, beautiful beat to your heart, then that is your soul purpose, or at least part of why you're here, So don't shy away from it. I think right now what's happening is this kind of change of the guard is very interesting, because we were born and raised, like me, meaning people like my age, and I think a lot of people my age are struggling with this, by the way. It's it's just so different. It's just different. I mean, when I was younger, 51 was nobody 51 looked like me. That I knew personally in my world, no one looked like me. 51 was like almost like grandma. Like you look like a grandma, whatever that means. But that kind of like think of like, Golden Girls like. But when I think of myself now, like I'm far, and as much as I love all of them, maybe more like, Rue McClanahan, more of a Blanche. But um, oh, I don't know, Betty White. They were all so good. I can go on and on. And B. Arthur, so funny, and Stella Getty. Anyway, but yeah, that needs to be my next tarot deck, by the way. I have got to get the Golden Girls tarot deck. That is like I feel like I want to start leaning towards more like fun, joyful decks. As I need the dark decks, right? We need them for the shadow work, but any hopes again. Yeah, I feel like we're in a different place, and you know, anybody born after 1969, it's like we were, the seeds of the new earth. Not every one of us are a star seed, of course, but I'm saying like, we were the seeds planted for new earth, and now here we are, over 50, years later, and now as someone who is 51, it goes by so fast. It really does. And people say that to you, but you're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it really does. I mean, I feel blessed to still be alive right now. I mean, there's, children, babies struggling to live right now in hospitals. You know what I mean? Like just trying to survive. And so I feel grateful that I've had all of the experiences I've had. I've had the most amazing life. I've had the most amazing life. But I'm ready to do more, and I'm ready to give more, and I know that when it's time it will all fall together. But right now I'm just like, I feel like I'm starting to like kind of take myself, backwards and look at the big picture, and not be so hard on myself, and finally being in a loving marriage, relationship, partnership where I feel secure. It's still a little scary. I still have moments, you know it's triggers. And every May, for my one ex, his birthday was May 2nd, and he always got really weird around his birthday and on his birthday and after his birthday. For like a month around his birthday, he was just like, you know, it was just interesting. I'd never seen anything like it. And then when I went older, I'm like, he was like that too. And I was like, huh, just really moody, doesn't want to be around anybody. It was just like interesting. But this birthday is different. He's just been like, ever since our anniversary, we've been in Loverville and just been like really happy. And we've never been like this before. Well, actually, that's not true. We were like this from the time we met until I found out the first time. He's, I don't want to say was a sex addict, because he would say if you're an addict, you're an addict. Like you have to, work hard for it every day to stay sober. So, but when I found out about his addictions and stuff, it's like, all of a sudden those rose colored glasses shattered and I saw him for who he really was. And it was really hard. Speaking my truth. So I spent 8 years with him. We've been together 8 years now. And, we got together in May and I found out in October. So I said to Michael, most of our relationship has been trust you, not trust you, trust you, not trust you, trust you, not trust you. Him trust me, him not trust me, just it's been the hardest, but it's been so amazing and rewarding too. So I can't help it. It's like I have moments where I'm just like, I'll hear a song and I'm like, does that mean he's cheating on me? I'm just like, fuck, like when does it end, Or I'll hear a song like, and I'm like, oh, my mom must be thinking about me. It's just like, or my family, or certain things will come on, like that song today. I mean, come on, like, what are the odds? I mean, I can tell you right now, I literally can't remember the last time I heard that version of that song played from Ike and Tina Turner, because, that's when they were still back then, and the whole, like, kind of Motown era and stuff. And so it was just really, really profound, and to find out that she passed like that. And I knew for a fucking fact she was talking to me, and I knew like everything, and just, so I just feel like I have a lot more to like work through and figure out. But in the meantime, I'm going to keep dreaming. I'm going to stay in a high vibration. I'm going to stay in Loverville and trust that Spirit has exactly everything put in place strategically, beautifully. Also, it makes a lot of sense that certain things are coming together because I'm a triple Sag. My husband's moon is in Sag, and the next full moon is in Sagittarius, the strawberry moon. So I'm very excited for that. So we have tomorrow, we're going on an adventure for Alder's birthday because, like I said, his birthday is the Sunday of Memorial Day. Not fun. And so we're going on an adventure tomorrow. And then I don't know what we're going to do the rest of the weekend. We're just going to kind of like feel it out. Luckily, where we live, it's like there's a lot of cool, fun things to do that we don't have to go very far. We don't have to be in traffic too much. But we're just going to kind of like feel it out and see how good, bad the traffic is, that kind of thing. And then go from there. And then, then we'll have the full moon is not this weekend, but next weekend. So yeah, I feel like something really magical is going to happen for us in the next 10 days. From now until the full moon or around the full moon, I just feel like there's just a lot of magic happening. And life is a highway. I'm going to ride it all night long. With love in my heart and my soul. And I'll be as awesome and beautiful and fun and full of life as I was meant to be. Not the horrible things that were told that I was weird or queer. If I wanted to dance or sing or be silly, my sister would be like, "You're so queer. You're so queer. Why you're so weird? Why are you so weird?" And then like it's interesting. All the things that she makes fun of me for or has made fun of me for, I'd watch her doing with her husband and her kids, and I'm like, so it's okay when you do it, but when I do it, I'm weird. I'm queer. I'm attention seeking. But either way, I started to realize like how many voices have been sabotaging and squashing my dreams. How many people's voices have been sabotaging and squashing your dreams? And how much longer are we going to allow them to do that? As much as I love my family, I can't allow them in my world or in my headspace. I want to do what I want to do, and I don't want anyone judging me anymore. I'm tired of it. I want to just live my life. Elise Myers, I knew of her, but man, she came into my orbit so hard recently, and like Spirit would not stop until they made me subscribe to her, and I've been like watching her stuff. It is fucking freakish how parallel she and our lives are. It's freakish. It's freaking me out, like seriously. Like there are so many things where I felt like it's a good thing that like my phone is not letting me like, I'm still having a hard, I haven't got a new phone yet. I'm waiting. I just, it's one of those things like you're just like, when it's time, I know. But yeah, I wanted to like comment on like so many things and be like, but I'm like, I don't know if she reads them. She's got all these people. I'm pretty sure she doesn't. I don't know when she'd have time. She's pregnant and has a baby, and a husband and everything and all of her business stuff. But anyway, I was just like, I'm like, it's bizarre. It's bizarre. And it inspired me, and it made me realize how much I still want to do things. Like I am weird. I'm a fucking weirdo and I want to do weird things, and I don't really care if people like my videos or make fun of me. But obviously I do because I don't, I have these moments. I have these moments. It's also because I haven't been myself in terms of like wearing my clothes and my coats and my hats. And I've always been like kind of a city girl strutting my stuff, and my awesome, vintage and my high fashion and things like that. I used to have 55 vintage coats at one time. I had 3 walk-in closets for my hats and my coats and my shoes and my clothes. I'm not joking. I really did. So it's, I'm just not that person anymore, but I'm still trying to figure out like, where I am. And yeah, so that's it. All right, I went on way too long. I wanted to talk like maybe 20 minutes, but this went on long. It's also late, and it was another emotional day, losing another hero in my life. That's hard. It's hard when we lose somebody that like means so much to us. That's really, 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 really hard. And you know, um, one of the guys from Earth, Wind, and Fire died today, and I love Earth, Wind, and Fire, but not enough that like I know their names, like like the actual people. I just love their music. I don't, you know, so technically that could be my third, but I don't know. So I guess I'll keep you posted if there's a third one, and we'll see. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. But I know whatever's meant to be will be. So, all right, until next time, I love you guys so much. Thanks for listening to me ramble on about my life. And if you haven't checked out my Magical Medium channel, I highly suggest you do, because the last reading I did, the Waxing Crescent, Gemini, Waxing Crescent meets Gemini season or something, that pickle reading was so powerful. I really, if you're drawn to it, I highly recommend you go check it out. They were really good. All right, until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Blessed be. Oh, bye. Love you. Oh, oh no.